The game of baseball likes its myths clean. We're taught to see the diamond as a place of order. 90 feet between bases, white chalk lines, rules older than the cities that host the teams. Baseball sells discipline, tradition, and quiet heroism. But history is never as sterile as the highlight reels. When the cameras turn away and the uniforms come off, some players step outside the lines entirely. This is not a list of scandals. This is not tabloid gossip. This is an autopsy. We're going to examine 7 real Major League Baseball players who became dangerous not because of what they did with a bat or a ball, but because of how they violated the social contract that protects everyone else. We will rank them in an evolutionary chain, from reckless self-destruction to calculated systemic harm. These are 7 levels of danger, and we start at the bottom. Every ecosystem has its weak link, the creature that confuses aggression with strength. Milton Bradley was that player. On the field, Bradley was volatile but talented. Off the field, that volatility turned inward and outward in equal measure. His legal history includes arrests for domestic violence, assault, and violations of protective orders. In 2011, Bradley was sentenced to 32 months in prison after pleading guilty to felony assault charges related to an attack on his wife. Bradley's danger was not strategy, it was chaos. He didn't hide, he didn't plan, he exploded. Neighbors called police, injuries were visible. The system responded quickly because it had to. In evolutionary terms, Bradley is noisy. Noise attracts predators, and in the real world, predators wear badges. This level of danger rarely lasts long. Self-destructive players burn out fast. They are removed from the environment not because they are feared, but because they are impossible to manage. Bradley wasn't a mastermind, he was a warning sign. If level 1 is chaos, level 2 is pattern. Felipe Vasquez was an elite closer, quiet, dominant, trusted, which made his downfall far more instructive. In 2019, Vasquez was arrested and later sentenced to 15 years in prison after pleading guilty to multiple charges, including sexual assault of a minor and possession of child pornography. This was not a single lapse in judgment. Investigators uncovered repeated behavior spanning months: communication, grooming, planning. The danger here is escalation. Unlike the careless offender, Vasquez operated in silence. His public image was clean, his professional performance flawless. That duality allowed him to operate longer, harming more people before intervention arrived. This is the first tier where the threat is not just personal, but systemic. Institutions failed to see what was happening because nothing appeared broken. Some players don't break the law impulsively. They enforce their own version of it. In 2005, former all-star pitcher Yugef Urbina was arrested in Venezuela for orchestrating an attack on 5 farm workers at his ranch. The men were tied up, doused in gasoline, and set on fire. One survived by jumping into a river. Urbina was convicted of attempted murder and sentenced to 14 years in prison. This was not panic. This was punishment. Urbina believed he was entitled to act as judge and executioner. That mindset is what elevates the threat level. The violence was organized, delegated, and designed to send a message. On the evolutionary ladder, Urbina represents the moment when power meets cruelty. Danger increases when behavior is protected. Roberto Osuna's 2018 domestic violence arrest in Toronto resulted in a suspension under MLB's domestic violence policy. The legal case was dropped, but the pattern did not disappear. Osuna returned to the mound quickly, traded to Houston, where performance once again insulated behavior. This level of danger thrives on institutional hesitation. The threat here is not a single crime, but normalization. When consequences are delayed or diluted, abuse becomes sustainable. Victims are isolated. Organizations prioritize results. Silence becomes policy. The player learns that winning covers everything. Violence is not the only weapon. Lenny Dykstra's post-baseball career is a masterclass in financial predation, fraud, bankruptcy scams, grand theft auto, sexual misconduct allegations. Dykstra used celebrity as camouflage, repeatedly manipulating investors, acquaintances, and institutions. This is white-collar danger. No bruises, no sirens, just paper trails and ruined lives. Dykstra's harm multiplied because it targeted trust itself. People believed him because they recognized his name. At this level, danger becomes scalable. This is where modern baseball becomes uncomfortable. Trevor Bauer was suspended for 194 games, later reduced, under MLB's domestic violence and sexual assault policy following multiple accusations. While criminal charges were not filed, civil cases and extensive evidence painted a picture of repeated, consensual adjacent violence that pushed ethical and legal boundaries. This level operates in gray zones: contracts, lawyers, non-disclosure agreements, media cycles. The danger here is not one incident, but the ability to operate within systems designed to protect talent. The player understands rules well enough to skate along their edges. The final level is not violence. It is corrosion. Pete Rose bet on baseball, on his own team, while managing the Cincinnati Reds. He lied for years before admitting it. No criminal sentence followed, but the damage was permanent, because this crime attacked the foundation. Sports survive on belief, on the idea that outcomes matter because rules matter. Rose didn't hurt one person. He destabilized trust across an entire league. That is the highest level of danger. Not the man who throws a punch, but the one who teaches everyone else that the game itself is rigged. Baseball endures because it pretends to be timeless, but time always tells the truth. And when you strip away the uniforms, the numbers, the mythology, what remains is a simple reality. Danger isn't about strength. It's about how much damage one person can cause before anyone stops them.